Tonight on the PageantCast, we have Shana Smith. She's Mrs. Tennessee International. That's tonight on the PageantCast. She's going to be talking all about the pageant and her platform. That's tonight with Shana Smith, Mrs. Tennessee International. TKPN.
Welcome to the PageantCast, your home for beauty pageant news and interviews on the internet.
Hi, I'm Janice McQueen Ward, and you are watching the PageantCast, the internet's first podcast about beauty pageants. Here's your host, Tim Crutchman.
This is Tim Crutchman, and you're watching the PageantCast. We're so pleased that you could join us. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight, because tonight on the show, we have Shana Smith. She's Mrs. Tennessee International 2017. Hello, Shana!
Hello! Thank you so much for having me.
It's so exciting to get you on the show. Been working on that for a while, actually. We've been friends on Facebook a good long time. So I'm glad to finally get to meet you and talk a little bit.
Yes, I have been watching your show for a long time, so this is really exciting for me.
I am quite elderly. It's been out there for a long time. So tell me, where are we calling you? Through the Skype lines, where are we calling you tonight?
I am in Thompson Station, Tennessee. We're about 40 minutes south of Nashville.
Thank you for that, because I really don't know my Tennessee, my Tennessee geography that well. So, okay, near Nashville, about 40 minutes. That's a nice, you can still go to the city, see all the great sights, but you're far enough out that you're not dealing with traffic all the time, right?
Yes, we can go in the city whenever we want, but the town we live in has one stoplight and a whole lot of farms. So
I'm in kind of a similar situation with Milwaukee. Not quite as much live entertainment as Nashville might have, but it's a nice city nonetheless. So tell me a little bit, what got you started in pageants in the first place?
my mom was really wanting that girly girl, and so when I was in elementary school, she said, let's do this. And I hated it in the beginning because I wanted to go out and ride bikes with the boys and skin my knees, and that was just not pageant girl. So I competed through high school and kind of was over it, I guess, when I graduated, and ran into a wonderful gentleman in the international system and kind of fell in love with it, and here I am.
Fantastic. Oh, I did it again. I use the word fantastic far too much. I'm told that all the time. So now that got you started, but what are some of your, and we use the term pageantcedents. What are some of the past pageants that you've been a part of?
I was Mrs. California International 2013, and before that, I hadn't actually won anything. I competed in my hometown local pageants and a few small ones in California, but Mrs. California International was my first big title.
And that's a great title. Now, who was the director at the time? Was it Eddie?
It was not. I actually won the year between Eddie and Eddie.
Okay,
So, Gail Tate was my director.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I knew that happened somewhere in that time. Okay, so yeah. Now what publications and websites do you use to keep up with pageants?
I am huge with Facebook and Instagram because I like pictures, but I follow the Pageant Planet. I followed you, like I said, since probably right after you started, to be honest. And I love watching what other women are doing and seeing how they're making an impact. So I think it's really inspiring to watch in that regard.
That's what we're trying to do over here. Sometimes we succeed. And, of course, our good friends over at the Pageant Planet, Stephen Roddy's doing an incredible job with his site. So much entertainment and educational resources at the Pageant Planet. So let's get into it. You're at the international pageants. What is your favorite phase of competition in international?
I honestly love the interview competition because I like being able to talk. and
Okay.
I like to talk a lot, so it works really well. And I think it's the best way to be able to get to know somebody. But I would have to say second to that really closely would be evening gown, because I love that moment when your husband sees your gown for the first time and just that look on his face, which is a mixture of, oh my goodness, I love you so much, and holy cow, how much did that gown cost?
Well, I had a feeling interview was going to be in there because when it comes to international pageants, it seems like interview is a strong motivating factor for getting involved in the international pageants. As you know, there's a lot of pageants out there, and one of the things that international really pushes is the interview. Now, it's round robin. Have you done any pageants where it's panel style, and which style do you prefer?
I have. I actually competed in a pageant several years ago that was a panel style, and I really like the round robin better, because I don't want to say if you blow it, but if you feel like you're not having necessarily your best interview, you have several more judges to go to, versus when you're on that panel and you feel like you're having a bad interview, it's really hard to come back from that.
Yeah, you get a chance to reboot, don't you? That's what's really nice about it. Okay, we're getting to one of everybody's absolute favorite things here on the PageantCast. It's time to go back to grammar school. It's time for show and tell. So, Shana, what did you bring for show and tell?
I have an obsession, which is kind of my little secret thing, but I have an obsession with skeleton keys. And the reason is my grandmother gave me one when I was like 3.
Okay.
And I think I spent the next 6 years trying to figure out what it went to, only to find out that it went to nothing. But I still have it. So I have this skeleton key that I've had for a really long time. I'm not going to put my age out on the internet right now.
Okay.
But I've had this for a very long time. But what's really funny about it is when we adopted our son last year, he gave me my first gift the day he met me. And it's stuck on my keychain, but it's his obsession. Oh, which one do I go?
Wow, look at that.
So it's the funniest thing that we have this mutual obsession of skeleton keys. But we have them all over the house, but yet none of them work.
Okay, so nothing to a lock, just the keys. Okay, and skeleton key, when I was growing up, I always thought skeleton key meant it opened anything. But it's actually the style of key, isn't it?
Correct. That's what I thought. When growing up, I always thought that a skeleton key opened every lock in the house.
Right.
Only to find this. I think back maybe when they started, they opened up everything because that was easier.
Okay.
But it was kind of a let.
I always thought they must be magic. You know, that they could open anything. I would wave them in front of, walls and see if something would open up. Never worked.
I wanted to get into my parents' secret stash of candy, so I thought it would work on that. It didn't.
Oh man, that's harsh. That's tough. Now, something you said leads us into this next question. Let's talk a little bit about your platform. Tell us what your platform is, Shana.
My platform is foster care and adoption awareness, which is super close to my heart and my family. We have a significant amount of adoption in our family. My grandmother was adopted out of a newspaper article. Both of my children were adopted out of foster care. So for the last 11 years, I've been doing a lot of work with foster care and orphan care, both in our country and internationally, to try to grow kind of that foster care system to provide more stability for kids.
Fantastic. Now, you have mentioned you've adopted?
I have. Both of my children are adopted out of foster care. I was a single parent foster home in California when I took custody of my daughter, and we adopted her in 2008. And we're still foster parents now. 11 years later, we adopted our son out of foster care just last July.
Okay. Now, the adoption process, I heard, is incredibly difficult. Is that true, or what's the situation?
It really depends on what kind of adoption you're doing. Out of foster care, it can be very difficult because you're dealing with multiple entities. You're dealing with the state, you're dealing with the social services department, and a lot of different rights. If you go through the international system, the domestic private adoption.
No, not the pageant adoption. The adoption itself.
Private adoption.
Okay.
It's very costly, and it can take years.
Okay.
So it really just depends which way you go. But it's not an easy thing to do on your heart either way.
Okay. So what kept you going? Because I know I have some friends that have gone through this, and it just seems like it goes on and on and on. What is it that drives you?
The kids. My daughter's adoption took 2.5 years. So we went through court hearings and birth parent rights and having the state in our home every few weeks for 2.5 years. But when you look down at these little faces that just want a mom and a dad in a home, it just drives you to keep going through it all.
That's great. That's great. All right. Tell me a little bit about what some of your appearances have been this year as Tennessee International.
I was crowned Mrs. Tennessee almost 2 months ago. So I have done several 5Ks with the Walk Me Home organization, which raises awareness for foster care. I've done 2 fundraisers for the America's Kids Belong organization. I went out to California and met with Together We Rise, who does fundraisers for duffel bags for children in care. And I'm actually headed to Nicaragua in about 7 days.
Ooh.
To the orphanages there and work with some of the children.
And as we record this, it's at the end of May, and the episodes will come out when they do. Of course, the live show's going out live. But you are really close to time for internationals.
Yes, we have, I think, 3 months. Mrs. International is August 12th and 13th. So
Wow.
We're here in the end of May, so we're really close.
And where is it being held this year?
This year it's in Charleston, West Virginia.
Charleston, West Virginia, and I think this is the first year in Charleston, if I remember correctly. So that's going to be exciting and new, and I know the Richardsons have a lot of contacts in that area, so it's going to be a fantastic time. I know that. A lot of great activities that they have lined up for you. Okay, we're getting to the end of our first episode here, and it's time for me to see your best pageant wave. We like to see a great pageant wave for folks to go out on. So I want to see your best pageant wave. Lay it on me. You're on the back of the, okay, and doing both sides. All right. Okay, nice. A very dignified wave there. Fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been great having you on the program, Shana. And what we like to say at the end of the show is Tiara Dreams. So Tiara Dreams, Shana.
Tiara Dreams, Tim.
Here's my wave.
Thanks for joining the most beautiful audience on the internet, the PageantCast audience. This is Stephanie Turner, Mrs. Tennessee International 2014, wishing you Tiara Dreams.
Submitting material to the PageantCast is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Come up with an idea. We know you have some. An appearance? A crowning?
Record a brief video on your phone or webcam and remember to include your title and name.
Send it to submit@PageantCast.com.
Videos are best as we are a video show after all, but we do take photos and stories.
Get yours in now before the competition for space gets too big. We want your submissions.
You. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3.